For days, the family couldn't understand why they hadn't seen their kitten, Miko. He was usually the first to greet them at the door, weaving between their legs with a soft purr. At first, they assumed he was just hiding somewhere in the house. Cats were masters at vanishing into impossible places. But as the hours turned into days, the worry grew heavier. They searched every corner, under beds, behind wardrobes, inside closets. Even the neighbors were asked, in case Miko had slipped out unnoticed. Nothing. The house felt hollow without the tiny pads of his feet tapping across the floor. By the fifth day, the mood was grim. Posters were printed, the children cried themselves to sleep, and the parents kept repeating the same question to each other: where could he have gone? Then, on the seventh morning, while feeding the larger pets outside, something unusual caught the mother's eye. In the corner of the shed stood the big transparent feeder. A 30-liter container they used for bulk dry food. She glanced at it absent-mindedly, but then froze. Inside, at the very bottom, was something small, curled up, unmoving. Her heart lurched. She rushed closer. It was Miko. How he had managed to get in there was an absolute mystery. The feeder was smooth, tall, with no ledges. Maybe he had jumped onto the open lid, curious, and slipped in. Somehow, there had been food enough to keep him alive. But there was no water. For a whole week he had been trapped, slowly weakening, unseen behind the plastic walls. The mother shouted for her husband. They scrambled to open the feeder, hands shaking. When they lifted Miko out, he was limp, his little body frighteningly still, his fur dull and matted with crumbs of kibble. For a terrifying moment, they thought they were too late. But then, faintly, he stirred. A tiny breath. A weak mew, no louder than a whisper. Tears welled in their eyes. They wrapped him in a towel, dribbled drops of water onto his tongue, and rushed him to the vet. The next few hours felt endless, waiting, pacing, whispering prayers. When the vet finally emerged, she smiled. He's a fighter. A little dehydrated, but he'll recover. Relief washed over them like a wave. They returned home that evening with Miko wrapped safely in their arms. The children clung to him, careful not to squeeze too hard, whispering promises never to let him out of sight again. No one ever figured out exactly how he got into the feeder. But from that day on, it became a family joke and a quiet reminder of how fragile and precious life can be.